Hey everyone, welcome back here to my channel where I play Planet Zoo. My name is Nissa and today we are taking a look at a new fish mod. Has been a while since been looking at a lot of fish. We had a hell of a lot coming out around a year ago or something like that, but it seems like Leaf and Buffzoo are in it again, and then along with Fishing Planet. But I'm not sure if Fishing Planet is a mother because on Nexus they just write with no commas and no and, no, just the words Buffzoo Leaf Fishing Planet. So maybe it's something they just call like those two together, like their little fishing planet, or maybe it's a mother. I'm not completely sure. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about, but it's just FYI, I'm not completely sure. The Redtail Catfish is a catfish with a red tail. It has this lighter markings on the mid side, going down the back. It's not a stripe, it's more like a mush of color, or lack of color, that is. Then they have the darker back and the darker patch on the kind of the ribs, I would call it. Again, markings can be a little more individual, so again, take it with a grain of salt. And then they seem to have the red fins, or the tip of the fins are red also. Then they have their mustache because they're catfish. And yeah, I think we can look the rest of it up here in the game. Am I here? Yes, I am. Sorry. So they are, of course, not made on a fish rack. I will just clarify that. So, oh, that looks fun. Okay, so they are made on the rack of something that goes on land. All of the fish will do that. So they can, and it looks funny when they do. Let me see here. Looks a little funny. Furthermore, if they cannot deep dive, for instance, here is not deep enough for them to deep dive, then they will just swim like this. So if you really want them to just stay in the water, then make sure they have water enough to do so. Though, yeah, they do go on land, but primarily because they eat over here. If you just use underwater feeders and you do not have any enrichments on land, they will stay more in the water, but I can't promise anything. The catfish here are bigger than most of the fish that are fish in the game. We also have sharks, muds, and whale muds, and so. But I'm just gonna go in here and find my Zero here, 2D Fun Bungalow Zero. That's the Zero I normally use for this kind of things. And it's just to compare its size. Here you can see it's kind of this Zero is the length of its head alone, where most of the fish much we have been looking at can actually stay within this Zero. So yeah, again, it's just to give you an idea of size. The babies is of course smaller, and the babies is a smaller version of the adults, pretty much, which is what baby fish looks like. Going into Zopedia here, Redtail Catfish and data deficients and so on. Again, a lot of fishies are really difficult to actually not catch, but yeah, also catch, but to count in the wild because again, water is big. They are from South America, which is Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, French Guiana, Guyana, Paraguay, Peru, Suriname, and Venezuela in aquatic and tropical biome. So it seems like it's a inland fish, not in the deep ocean. They do not need a lot of space, though. Again, keep in mind that, yeah, when you have more of them, they will need more. I just think this is the smallest amount, but again, because it is a bigger fish, 1 square meters of water wouldn't look like a lot. Live in places from -20 to 42 degrees Celsius, and I think that accounts for the fact that water is normally colder than land in there, anywhere. And grade 2 fins above 4 feet 95. Now, before we move on to the next thing, I will just mention that I got my Patreon up and running. I don't have all my videos over there yet, but for instance, the catfish like this, you would be able to find it by searching for Redtail Catfish, but you could also just search for catfish, and then everything that have a catfish can get up there. The genus is also something I do, and then for instance, now this is not a Pacific fish, but if it was, then you could search for Pacific Ocean or something like that. I'm not sure if I make freshwater fish like South American fish, because that can be a little confusing, because some fish lives in a lot of places. But it's just, if you want help to actually find all of these, they are on my Patreon. All of the mud videos are for free. You do not need to subscribe or anything like that. You can just go in there and use the search function to actually find them, because I do not want to make money on these videos. But my speed builds and other videos is available on my lowest tier, which it's $1 a month. Anyway, and I promise not to go through this in every single video. Group size is up to 100, and gender doesn't count. I will say though, when you have 100 fish in an aquarium, and you also have like other animals in your zoo, and you maybe have a few aquariums with multiple fish and such, it will harm your frames per second. It will. It just will. Unless you have a super computer, but it's just how the game works. Aggression level even equal to dominance. They are polyamorous. Confidence around humans, but guests should not enter their habitat. They grow to a size of 4 feet 5, both males and females, and live for around 15 years. Weigh around 100 pounds, which is 45 kilos or something around there. Reach sexual maturity at age 10. That's quite late if they only live for 15 years, but then they can reproduce until they die. They will get between 2 and 7 offsprings every year and be pregnant for 3 months. They should be very easy to get to reproduce in captivity. And for enrichments, it looks kind of like the Cayman enrichment. I'm not completely sure. So we have the sprinkler, small balls. We have the 3 of them. The pumpkin is not included. The water jet, but only the plastic version. Blood scent marker, rubber ducky, and mud bath. Again, any of these you put on land will incentivize your fish to go on land. The same with the food enrichment, where we have the frozen blood pumpkin, restrained feeder, underwater feeder box, but only the tall one, and then the block of frozen fish. So I would just stay with this to make them stay in water, and then maybe take a bowl and dump underwater, maybe the rubber ducky. They have interspecies enrichment with the capybara, the Gulliver's dwarf caiman, a giant otter, jaguar, platypus, and spectated caiman. So there's quite a few things there to go for. Again, I wouldn't be afraid for a caiman to eat them, since they are so goddamn big. Now, time for the close-up. These are, again, big fillers, but I do really like that they didn't only make the beard, but they did go in and really do a really nice ombre effect on it. So not just one color, as it would be easier to do. The eye actually look really nice, and if you look at the way the shine work on the eye, it does look like the shine on the eye is its own thing, which I really do appreciate. A lot of these fish muds have this way. They have 2 textures going on here. You can see the blackness have a shine going on clearly, but the shine doesn't go into the white. The white is matte, which I do not know why, but it's just something that I have noticed with a lot of them. Again, big fellow. Again, we have the red tips here and there and there. I will say though, I would call them orange or bronze or something like that. I wouldn't call them red. comparing to the color here, you can see there's a little bit of difference, but it's not bad at all. The only thing is that this is clearly a really kind of thick piece, where on the real thing it will be really thin and almost see-through, which is something that I don't think the modders have managed to get there for Planet Zoo. So it doesn't make this mod bad compared to other mods. It's just like maybe someday the modders will hack it, maybe they won't. It's just how it is. Again, Planet Zoo Axie is a mod you always should have. And for instance, the simple thing as here you can see the bubbles are behind them when they swim. It's something that Axie actually allows it to do. Now it's difficult to see with that. But you can see also the other ones over here. It's probably easier to see with that. It's just a nice little detail. And again, Axie should always be the first mod you actually download, if you ask me. So yeah, I will not go into too much details with the babies. Again, they are pretty much the same. I'm not sure if they're just as thick. I thought maybe they were a little bit thinner, but they're not. And it seems, again, very much like the same. I do, however, really, really like them. And again, depending on what you will do with it, they will work perfectly. You could both give them a aquarium on their own, but you could also use them like a background fish. I think they are still small enough for that if the aquarium is big enough. For instance, just to say something, a jaguar, capybara, all of these animals, they have interspecies enrichment, and even the caiman would make sense. But again, you need to be aware that they will need enough water to swim to actually stay in the water, make it deep enough, make them able to swim around. And again, here they're only going in a circle. Again, if I had a massive aquarium, which I will build in here at a point, but not today. So yeah, that's where we're gonna end it, guys. And again, beautiful. And they do give birth. Clearly, I had issues previous with fish because they need to go on land to breed, and if they don't go on land, they don't breed. But these, you can see, no issues at all. So yeah, we're gonna end it here. And as always, guys, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification so you know the next time I upload a video. I really hope to see you again, either in the comments below or in the next video. Bye, guys.